Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Network. Leroy Lucero along with Michael Carlisle. A great day yesterday.
What's up?
What do you mean, what's up? Finally, there's some passion and excitement about Lobo football.
Didn't you quit Lobo football? I don't think you get to hop back on.
No, I quit Bob Davie, but I did not quit Lobo football. And
you quit going.
I did.
You quit supporting.
I told you I would not. I could not see myself and along with just about 99.99% of the fans in New Mexico could not see themselves going to go see another Bob Davie coached football team.
I believe there were about 2,100 people at the final game that would disagree with you, Leroy.
That's what I said. How many people are in the state of New Mexico? Here's the deal. Coach Danny Gonzalez was named the football coach last night. I don't think that was a surprise to anyone, or was it?
No, it probably wasn't. And, you know, certainly the word came out yesterday, was being reported all over the place that it was going to be Danny. Apparently there was a second candidate, although we don't really know who that was. But I think Gonzalez, you know, assuming everything went well with the interview process, he had to be the guy. I think realistically he checks all the boxes. He's a young up-and-coming coordinator from the Pac-12, so from a power conference. And, oh, by the way, he's from here, played here, and coached here.
Exactly.
So you know, if you talk about wanting someone who can connect with the community, boom, it's Danny Gonzalez.
So I've known Danny since he was a player at UNM, and I remember when Rocky Long brought him in on the staff, and always thought that he would be a good coach. When he was an assistant, always thought he was a solid guy. He would be a solid guy. In fact, there was an article from Ed Johnson where Rocky was talking about someday he'll be coaching here. When Bob Davie was finally let go, mercifully let go, merciful for Lobo fans, immediately that was the name that popped up. Of course, I had mentioned it a couple of years ago when I thought Bob Davie should have been let go. And it finally went through. I know you mentioned some of the stuff on Twitter, on the Twitterverse and media reports. You know, there was a talk of Curtis Looper, another former Lobo assistant, currently at TCU. And then a name came up towards the end, Jay Hill, the head coach at Weber State, who's had a decent career. Of course, you had the regular yahoos, and I'm sure you had him on the show the whole time of, we need a splash hire. We need a big splash hire. Is this a big splash hire, Michael Carlisle?
Yes, this is the best hire UNM could have made.
Yeah.
You know, again, not just because of the local ties. Obviously, he had to check off all the boxes, but Eddie obviously liked what he heard, what he saw when he talked with Danny. I'm certain Rocky gave him a nice recommendation when Eddie talked to him.
Dennis Franchione?
Sure. So, yeah, this was the hire. I don't think any other hire would have made the impression that this one is making.
Well, here's the thing. So Danny played during some of the Lobos' best years, Dennis Franchione, Rocky Long. Then he coached during other years that were the best
Sure.
Lobo years, at least, in this last 60 years, I would say, probably that.
Last 100 years.
Yeah, well, there
I think
was
you have to go back to the early
when the
1900s.
WAC first started, UNM was actually pretty decent. But I'm thinking since that point, probably Dennis Franchone's last year, and then Rocky Long's.
Sure.
I guess you could throw Bob Davies' bowl two bowl run in there as well. But so he was part of that. He is the prototypical Rocky Long type player here, where he walked on. Mm-hmm. He earned a scholarship. Now, granted, he walked on while Dennis Franchione was a coach here. Earned a scholarship, busted his tail, worked hard, and then played. And then it became a GA or video. I think it was video.
He started out as a grad assistant, then became a video coordinator, and then coached safeties and special teams.
Yes, and I remember him at that point. He knows New Mexico. Obviously, he was a Valley Viking. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest with you, on the Twitterverse, many former Lobo football players had been contacting me for a while now. Is this Danny's job? Is this Danny's job? If asking me, I wasn't 100% sure, but I felt it was. And so there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of talk now is, are they going to bring back maybe some of the coaches that some of the former Lobo players that he played with? I don't know if that's true or not. Coach White, he's at Arizona State now. He was a coach here, followed Rocky to San Diego State, followed Danny to Arizona State. He's a possibility to come in. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Jason Lensmeyer, they might throw a shot out and see what's going on there. But there is plenty of other coaches that have players, I said former Lobos, that have contacted and are happy. You were at the pit last night. What was that like? What was the reception like?
Huge reception when Eddie Nunez introduced Danny Gonzalez. Again, this was, assuming all the boxes were checked, this was the hire to make. And, we won't know for sure for a few years, but it sure seems like today that this was the right hire.
And back to the splash hire, and you're absolutely right. You bring Jay Hill, who's a quality coach. I'm not gonna badmouth that guy at all because I think he's a good coach at where he's at. He may, and when he does get his D1 shot, he's going to do just fine. Mm-hmm. But coming here, he would talk about not even a splash. He wouldn't even made a ripple. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody understands that sort of stuff. I'll just be honest. College football fans in New Mexico it's not that huge. Mm-hmm. But Danny Gonzalez, like you said, that's someone they can kind of glom onto, a name that they've heard. People are excited. I think the people on the Twitter sphere are excited. It's on your show, I heard a little bit of excitement.
Sure.
Except there was one guy.
I had one guy.
It was an email, right?
Yeah, that was complaining about, I would wish they would have hired a young up-and-coming coordinator from a power conference. And I'm like, that's what Danny Gonzalez is. He's 43, defensive coordinator at Arizona State. Last I checked, they play in the Pac-12, which also, last I checked, is a power conference. I think, to be fair, I think what he was talking about was like an SEC coach, somebody that Eddie had some ties with. And look, that would have been fine too, but, and you keep bringing up the splash hire. Eddie made it clear at his press conference a couple of weeks ago, we're not looking to make a splash hire. We're not looking to win the press conference. We're looking to build a winning program. And, if you want a young up-and-coming coach from a power conference that's a coordinator, that's Danny Gonzalez. He obviously checked off the boxes with the interview process. Then you add in the fact, and this is just like gravy on the top, again, from here, played here, coached here, has a connection. It's somebody the fans can, like you said, latch onto immediately. I mean, really, I don't think any other hire, unless somebody just, blew through the interview process and made such a huge impression, I don't think there was any other hire to make. And Danny, look, it's not like nobody was interested in him but here. He was mentioned with the UNLV jobs, some others as well. You and I had talked. He was probably in line in a couple of years, for a head coaching job in the Pac-12 if things continue to go well. So, he is a coach on the rise. He is someone that was in demand, even in demand this year. He wanted to be a Lobo. He wanted to come back home, which, by the way, the first thing he said when he got the microphone last night in front of the pit, I'm home.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. If you can't latch on to that, you're not going to latch on to anything.
And here's the other thing. he's still an up-and-coming coach.
Absolutely.
If he's able to get things, so we were talking off the air, I'm thinking it's probably going to be a 5-year deal. That sounds about right.
Yeah, press conference later today as we do live on Wednesday. We'll find out more info.
I'm just
today.
assuming. I'm
Right.
guessing. This is just my thoughts. It'll be a 5-year deal. I don't care who the coach is. It's going to take a year or two to kind of to even get into where you start talking about wins and bowls. But I think they'll be more competitive. So let's say 1 or 2 years. So 5-year deal. At that point, if they start getting better, the Pac-12 is still going to come calling, or other conference.
But look, you can worry about that in
No.
4 or 5 years. That's down the line.
But here's the beauty. This is what I'm talking about. I think this is a guy that, with the right leadership at UNM, you let this guy build the program up, and when the Pac-12 calls, you say, "Hey, Danny, thanks for doing it. Let's look within the program, see if there's somebody there that can take over. That way we don't miss a beat." The past few coaching changes, you have Rocky Long, conservative offense, vicious defense. You bring in Mike Loxley because you want the more wide open pass happy offense. By the time you try to switch everything up, personnel wise, it was a disaster. Things didn't work out. So then you want the more conservative type coach because Mike Loxley had his disasters here and everything else. Then it took a couple of years to try to switch that all up. If they can start building a program as opposed to just getting a year or two of good stuff,
Right.
then maybe this program can start moving up instead of just constantly every couple of years trying to switch over and run around with their hair on fire and then take another 3 to 4 years to build. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Sure. But look, calm down. He hasn't even had his introductory press conference yet, and you've already mapped out his exit plan. Calm down.
Well,
I know you're excited. Calm down. Let him build the program. Look, I don't know that it's a guarantee that he bolts the first,
No,
if
you're
he
right.
has success in the first job that comes along. Look, let's let the process play out. You're 100% right, though. The goal here is not to build a winning team and have a couple of winning seasons and be up and down. It's to build a winning program, to have consistency. I think you're 100% right on that. And that was a big part of what went into this hire, probably more so than any other coach. Rocky came the closest to doing that. Coach Davey certainly had a nice 2-year run there with the back-to-back bowl games, the 9-win season, but weren't able to sustain it. We know the Loxley era. But you go back, and you know this, you go back through the history of Lobo football. It's ups and downs. Downs, up, down, up. No, I'm not trying to be funny.
You're right.
Look, don't get me wrong. You've had great seasons. This will be way more effective, Alden, if you actually had me on camera. You've had your ups and downs. You've certainly had the good times, but you've had a lot of bad as well. The goal is to even it out more up here. And then when you have your spikes, you're competing for division championships and the opportunity to play for conference titles. Right, you build a winning program, not a winning team.
All right. Before we go on break, today is the beginning of early National Signing Day. So young men girls are signing for their respective sports as well. But young men can sign with their D1 football team this week. I hope after Danny has the press conference, if he hasn't already call up to Heath Ridenauer up at Cleveland. Get Dorian Lewis in a Lobo uniform. Make the offer. Get him in here today. That's a high-caliber D1 quality athlete. If it wasn't for the injury that he had last year, the knee injury, that young man would be going to a P5 school right now. He'd probably have his choice of them. But the injury's there. Take advantage of that situation. He could be, for Rocky Long, what Dontrell Moore was, he could be his Dontrell Moore. We'll take a quick break, and we'll talk about some other Lobo stuff that's going on. I guess there was a basketball game last night.
There was.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it.
To shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's a long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go.
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good.
Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Screechers. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Oh, Morgan.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Lost Michael Carlisle in the euphoria of Danny Gonzalez. And once again, for Lobo football, that's euphoric because there hasn't been a lot of positives in the past 3 years. But caught up in that, if we set that aside for a minute, what is the Lobo basketball team, the men's basketball team, that's putting on a little string of victories there?
They are. They're 11-2 now, which is, I think, second in the nation in win totals. They look really good on Tuesday night against Grand Canyon. They've got another game before the Christmas break Sunday against Houston Baptist, and then they get back into conference play. And look, I get it. It's Grand Canyon. That's fine. But they're playing really good basketball right now.
Grand Canyon's been a decent school. I don't know if they are this year, but they've been a decent school.
Yeah. Right, and you go back and look at the Lobos' 2 losses. One of them is to Auburn, who I believe is ranked 12th this week.
Something like that, and very good.
And is undefeated. The other one is to a UTEP team that's lost 1 game.
Right. So they're both good teams that they lost to, and I think they've beaten some decent teams too. Wisconsin's not bad. Yeah. They're not great. It's going to look good on the RPI and all that stuff.
Sure.
You mentioned New Mexico State. You know they're going to be in the mix come WAC time anyway.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I like this team. I think there's some talented individuals. Obviously, getting Jaquan Lyle back has been huge.
Oh, no doubt about that. Vontae Hendricks played his first game last night, had 12 points on 4-6 shooting from 3-point range, was diving all over the floor. So that's a nice added spark to the team. Carlton Bragg has really come into his own. He's the reigning Mountain West Conference Player of the Week. Maybe again this week if he has another game like he had last night. Look, you don't want to put the cart before the horse. You're certainly, when you get into conference play, you're going to have to deal with San Diego State, Utah State. Of course, Steve Alford and Nevada are lurking. But assuming they continue to develop and come along the way they have, I really like the Lobos' chances in conference play.
I think Vance Jackson's still slowly starting to come along.
Yeah.
Slowly. I think Carlton Bragg might be the most improved player. I think a lot of that has to do, obviously, with Lyle taking some of the pressure off of him, but also just feeling comfortable.
Yeah.
Feeling comfortable in his role, knowing what his role is. Those back-to-back dunks. What was the game this weekend?
The New Mexico State game.
Oh,
yeah.
There was 2 back-to-back alley-oops that were just, they were nasty.
Yeah.
Just nasty. And I really like Carlton's game. And it looks like he's having fun. It looks like the entire team's having fun. There's definitely some things going on. It's kind of crazy. You talked about Hendricks coming in, the transfer from Utah. And all of a sudden, Weir just has just pounds and pounds of talent.
Yeah.
I mean, there is so much talent up and down on this team. It's funny. The other day I was listening to the game, and they said Corey Manigault's the second leading scorer on the team, and I thought he's had a quiet year.
Yeah, and he had 6 against Grand Canyon, but yeah, he's had some big moments as well. But that's the thing about this team that I don't think you've had the last couple of years. If Lyle has an off night or the opposing defense does a good job of shutting him down, you've got Brad. You've got a Manigault who can step up. J.J. Caldwell is really coming into his own.
Spectacular.
Yeah, 9 assists on Tuesday night against Grand Canyon. Keith McGee's had moments. Zane Martin is very talented. You've got different guys who can step up. The past couple of years, if Mathis or whomever got shut down, you were in a world of trouble.
So we kind of talked about this at the beginning of the year when Mathis left. And I thought last year a lot of guys were willing to defer and just let Mathis shoot. And obviously Mathis being a shooter, he's not afraid to shoot.
Right.
If you get the green light and you're a shooter, you're going to shoot.
Sure.
Now, granted, he scored a lot of points, but he also sometimes he took shots that were ill-advised. I think that's everybody, especially a shooter with the green light. This year, they spread it around. Like you said, it's almost like pick your poison or who is going to get hot tonight, and we'll just go with that hot hand. And it really seems like that's what Lobo basketball is. Defensively, I think they're pretty solid too. Not great. I don't think this is a great defensive team so far, but they're good. And I think that's all you need is good enough on defense and solid offense.
Yeah, and you look at offense, they had 23 assists Tuesday night against Grand Canyon on 31 made baskets. I mean, that's what you want. We mentioned Caldwell had 9. Lyle had 6 assists. There was a knock for some reason earlier in the season, and I don't think it was completely fair. Oh, they don't pass the ball if they don't pass. Yes, they do. If you're getting all these assists on these made baskets, that's because you're passing the ball.
Well, once again, not that the internet knows anything, but people get
the
on
internet
the internet
knows everything, yet it doesn't know anything.
And I'm sure you got the call. I mean, there was actually people posting stuff like, "What's Weir's buyout? What's Weir's buyout?" after the Auburn game, and I'm thinking, what? After just a handful of games, we're ready to run the guy out of town? How does that work?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was kind of a crazy thing, but definitely. I'm excited. It's fun to watch a game. The girls' team's doing okay too. I know they had a couple.
They've
bumps,
had their
but
struggles.
I think they blew out New Mexico State.
Oh, they did.
Handily.
Yeah, they swept the Aggies much like the men did.
I think everyone
football
swept the
won.
Aggies.
Aggies. I mean, it's a really good time to be a Lobo fan right now.
It really is.
You got a new football coach. Men's basketball is doing phenomenal. The women are doing well. Like I said, both of them swept the Aggies. Football beat the Aggies. You've got supremacy, at least for now, over your little brother to the south. These are good times.
You're collecting money for the boxes and seats that are sold.
Sure.
They're actually putting funds into the program. It's not a bad thing.
No.
Not a bad thing at all. Hey, I want to talk to you real quick because I know you were in Las Vegas this weekend. What are your thoughts on NFL football? Anything?
Because I was in Las Vegas last weekend?
I figured you probably laid a few dollars down there, didn't you?
I might
You bet
have,
on those Redskins?
Oh, good God, no. I'm not stupid. Just because I'm a Redskins fan doesn't mean I'm stupid enough to bet on them. I might have spent a little time in the sports book. That's entirely possible.
It's a good time to do it.
Yeah. Cowboys look good again.
I was going to say, they look good to start, look like crap the rest of the season, and now all of a sudden they're getting it back together.
They have a lot of ups and downs, but when they're playing well,
the ups are there.
I think they're as good as any team in the NFC. And I realize the NFC has, 4 teams that have 11 wins. When they're playing well, and it pains me to say it, but when they're playing well, they're as good as any of those teams.
Well,
when they're not playing well, which is almost as often as when they're playing well, they're as bad as anybody too.
So I wanted to ask you that because I was thinking about this after Sunday's game. San Francisco is going to wind up a 5 seed, despite having 11 wins right now and playing on the road in the playoffs in Dallas, assuming the Cowboys win the division. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, are they that good or are they not that good? Their defense has been kind of fly at the wall, but
they aren't that good. You look at their 3 losses; all those losses came in either the final minute or overtime.
Right.
So even those losses that they've been right there, nobody's blown them out. Nobody's really outplayed them. I think they are legit. Now, It's not a foregone conclusion they finish with the top wild card either. They still play Seattle again, and that'll pretty much be for the NFC West. But yeah, you're going to have a 12, 13 win team that's going to be a wild card and has to play on the road.
Has to play at Dallas.
Either Dallas or Philadelphia.
Come on, Philadelphia's going nowhere. Let's just be honest. Cowboys are going to roll up on Philadelphia this weekend and put the stranglehold with that 8-8 record on.
and that's why that's why I love Cowboy fans so much, because that one game, it pushes back into the back of your mind all those bad games, that come along as often as the good games. So now all you're thinking about it is the good game. And yep, they're going to keep rolling. And look, maybe they do. They certainly have the talent to, for sure. But it's also just as likely they go out and lay an egg and Zeke runs for 32 yards and everybody's calling for Jason Garrett's head again. I mean, let's be honest. That's just as likely to
I don't think
happen.
anyone's stopped calling for Jason Garrett's head's leg.
But it gets louder again.
Or his legs or his head. They call him for everything.
They want the whole damn body.
Yeah, exactly. They just get him out of here. Look, you know what? This is how bad it's been for Cowboy fans. When Kai Forbath hit that field goal, I mean, Twitter blew up. I mean, it's like, whoa.
You finally had a kicker who can make a field
goal.
goal.
He hit a field goal. Oh, my goodness. Because if you looked at most of the Cowboy losses, 3 minutes? That's all we got is 3 minutes? Okay. If you look at all the Cowboys' losses, Brett Maher, the former kicker, always missed the clutch field goal.
Sure.
And it was always a difference of 3 points at the end of the
See,
game.
there he is.
Just saying.
Beautiful Cowboy fan. Oh, it was all the kicker's fault. He's gone now, so we're good.
I've already said.
I love it.
If you notice, what did I say? I said the Cowboys will beat the Eagles and then win the NFC East with an 8-8 record, which means they would lose one more game. Who would that be against?
Washington.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. They'll get a stranglehold, and then Jason will sit the starters against the Redskins.
No, because probably. Yeah, because even if Dallas wins Sunday, even if Philly won the next week and the Cowboys lost, the Cowboys would still win the division. Yeah, maybe.
So I'm just saying. Also, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Wow, what a human highlight reel that guy is he not?
Yeah, watch out for the Ravens in the AFC.
Yeah, right? I mean, I thought the Patriots were just going to walk through. And they still might. I mean, they have a good defense. But, man, how do you stop Lamar Jackson? That guy's awesome. He's awesome to watch.
He is.
Because whether it's his arm or his legs, something magical is going to happen.
For sure. The AFC is interesting as well. Don't sleep on the Chiefs. I know they had some early season losses, but that team's still talented as all get out offensively. The defense for them has played better the last few weeks, and you can never count out the Patriots. Look, they want to win so bad, they're sending video crews to one-win Cincinnati to get an edge the next week. I mean, come on.
Do you believe that? I mean, honestly. I mean, Cincinnati, do you really need an edge against them?
Honestly, and this is what I think. If that had been any other team, this would have all been forgotten. It never would have been a big deal. But it's the Patriots. There was Spygate, Deflategate, all these things. It's a much bigger deal. I don't think the intent was there, but how do you keep getting in those situations?
I think they just did it because of the mystique of those old altercations or problems. Real quick, I want
the mystique of to play the
cheating,
Bengals
of being cheating.
But it was against the Bengals.
It's like it gives everyone something to talk about rather than Tom Brady's arm might be falling off.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick before we leave, I wanted to take a moment to talk about one of our former mates here on ProView Networks, Austin Denton. Young man, just amazing young man that did a lot of play-by-play. In fact, I tried to get him to be part of the show, but he was still in high school, so he couldn't come and do the show because he had classes. To me? No. You were already here.
Oh, okay.
But
you're going to replace me?
No, but there's Austin right there. No, I want him to be part of it because it's just he was amazing. So the first time I met Austin, I had gotten contracted to do my first Yaffle game play-by-play, and I'm walking through the press box, and I hear the guy's voice. I didn't know he was a kid at the time. I didn't even know him. And I walk, and I'm listening, and I'm like, how in the world am I going to match up to what that guy's doing? Because he is that good.
Yeah.
And then when I met him, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's a kid. I mean, he was just solid. He was great. And I was just like, and at first, you know this, you've worked in media. There's a little bit of competition sometimes between guys. Some guys are worse than others. But he introduced himself. He goes, hey, Leroy, my name's Austin. Obviously, his game was over. He goes, you're going to do a great job. He goes, I watch your guys' show all the time. he goes, I think you guys do a great job. I really appreciate it. And I was like, he goes, you know, you can do great. And then his dad picked him up because obviously he was in the wheelchair. And every time I've seen that young man, and now that I know his full story, and I'm getting teared up, but that's fine. I have never met an individual in this business that's as encouraging and kind and just always had a smile on his face. And when you find out about the cancer and the tumors in his back and being in the wheelchair and everything else, I'm going to miss you, Austin.
Yep.
You're a great dude. And just the entire ProView Network family is crushed by the loss of Austin Dent. God bless you, brother. God bless everyone else. We'll see you next week.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green.
And keep the community green as well.
Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment.
You trash it,
we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
St. Clair Winery and Bistro has been renamed in honor of our founders, the Lascombe family. D.H. Lascombe Winery and Bistro continues to deliver the same exceptional wine and food experience you've come to expect since 2005. Visit us today, D.H. Lascombe Winery and Bistro.
Stop living with summer heat. Get a super efficient AC systems from Sunshine Plumbing and Heating and eliminate all worry for a full 10 years. Now that's a bold guarantee. Call now and get your free system design consultation and learn more about how our bold guarantee can help eliminate your worry for a full 10 years. Comfort you can afford. Call Sunshine Plumbing today, 296-3188.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
Ah!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
The world-famous Laguna Burger is beautifully handcrafted. A burger that's created from certified Angus beef, sinfully cooked to juicy perfection, and garnished with New Mexico's Hatch green chili. Tempt your taste buds with mouth-watering fresh ingredients.
Cut! We're gonna need another Laguna Burger. Try the irresistible, world-famous Laguna Burger. Visit thelagunaburger.com. It's fresh with a kick. Take 32.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of ProView Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but two great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
Welcome to the place where we talk about people getting punched in the face. This is Cage Minds. I'm Micah Frankel. It was a busy weekend. We got a lot of boxing coming up this weekend and some breaking news for you this morning. The former Bellator welterweight champion, the former UFC title challenger, Rory Red King McDonald, has signed with the PFL. His time with Bellator, MMA, is a thing of the past. He will compete in the $1 million welterweight season, hoping to get to the playoffs there in 2020 with the PFL. That is a huge one for the PFL, and you can see McDonald on ESPN Plus and ESPN2. So that is a big bit of breaking news for you guys just this morning. We had a busy week talking about welterweights from last weekend. A lot to get through to, and we'll start off with those UFC highlights. There's a big night of action in Las Vegas, UFC 245. You can see it right there, a triple main event, a stacked card in all. Interesting all the way through and through, but we'll start off with that main event. The grudge match lives up to the billing, and they go to war. Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, two wrestlers. They don't wrestle. They bang it out and punch each other in the face for 5 rounds. Covington, that high volume, high pace attack, stinging Usman several times. And Usman right hand in the 3rd round, breaking Covington's jaw. Usman able to score 2 knockdowns in the 5th round. Controversy comes as Usman lands a couple shots, I felt, to the back of the head, but the ref jumps in, and still is the verdict. Kamaru Usman with his first successful title defense. Maybe some controversy, but possibly moving on to fight the BMF champion. And in a shocker, we have a new featherweight champion in the co-main event. Australia's Alexander Volkanovski is able to outstrike, outpoint, outfight Max Holloway for 5 rounds. I believe it's something like 20 leg kicks in the 1st round. Volkanovski took Holloway out of his game plan. Australia has another UFC champion. A big win there. A rematch could be on the horizon. And in the main event, Our first of the 3 title fights that we had was Amanda Nunes, the Lioness, the multiple division women's champion. She's able to defend big punches early and then turn to the grappling. Durandame, a lot tougher than most expected on bottom, but it was the Lioness controlling the fight, retaining her titles. It will be interesting to see who she defends against next. Jose Aldo makes 135 pounds. He fights amazingly, but the judges give the decision, the split decision, to Marlon Moraes. This was Bull versus Matador, and Moraes, in controversial fashion, takes the judge's decision, but possibilities of Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo have been mentioned. The guy that came out looking like the top bantamweight of this card was Peter Yan, scoring a 3rd-round head kick knockout of Uriah Faber. Uriah now says he's interested in still fighting, but realizes the title may be out of his reach. Peter Yan is a bad man, a great striker, incredibly feared. The top of the prelims featured Jeff Neal, welterweight, just cracking that top 15. Watch this dark horse as he approaches title contention. Lit up and destroyed Mark Perry. Started it off with a head kick that was able to go right across the nose. Swarmed with punches. A huge 1st-round finish. We don't know where Amanda Nunes goes because the most clear-cut challenger she had in the bantamweight division is no longer there. Caitlin Vieira eats the left hook from Irene Aldana. That one's to the body that you're seeing, but one to the head lands moments later in a 1st-round knockout. Welcome back to the octagon after a short-lived retirement to Matt Brown. Everybody does it. Matt Brown did it. He came back and in fashion is able to stop Ben Saunders, clipping the killer bee on the feet, throwing him to the ground, and then wicked ground and pound for the knockout victory. Devastating stuff. And the card all got started with action. Chase Hooper able to score a TKO of Daniel Tamor. Strikes from a mounted triangle, forced Tamor to tap. That one was crazy. A great night of fights in Las Vegas. Even better, if you're on Twitter, go check out the interaction between Ben Askren and Chase Hooper. Some really great, hilarious stuff. That was the MMA. We had boxing, though, also this weekend. Terrence Crawford was in action. You also had Timo Lopez, who makes no doubt about it, a 2nd-round knockout of Richard Cormley to become the new IBF lightweight champion. And the main event delivered as expected, improving to 36-0. Terrence Crawford takes out the Mean Machine and retain his WBO welterweight title after 3 knockdowns, finishing the fight in the 9th round. That's why Terrence Crawford is top 3 in the world. Golden Contract Tournament light heavyweight quarterfinals. There are your semifinals. Liam Corney, Hossie Burton, Serge Michael, and Richards Bokniks. Keeping up with those guys. Big things for light heavyweights. Opportunities for 6-figure paydays. That's taking place on ESPN. So we had a lot there in the ring. Now we get to look forward to a big weekend of Bellator action. We start off, though, with Titan FC on Friday night. You have a bantamweight title bout in the main event. Irwin Rivera defends the bantamweight title against unbeaten Danny Sabatella. Irwin 2-fight win streak, both by TKO. Sabatella has won 5 of 6 by stoppage. Heavyweight co-main event, Muhammad Usman versus Reggie Cato. You have a doubleheader in Hawaii from Bellator. Friday night, it's on Paramount. It's the debut of former UFC heavyweight champion Josh Barnett taking on Hani Marks, a UFC and PFL vet. Goito, Eric Perez makes his Bellator debut in the co-main event against Toby Misch. Veta Ortega, Alejandra Lara, a pair of female former flyweight title challengers there in the feature fight. And Black Ice, Joey Davis, the unbeaten prospect, former NCAA wrestling champion, faces Chris Cisneros in the card's opening fight. Also, lightweight tournament or featherweight tournament challenger or competitor Taiwan Claxton looks to rebound from the first loss of his career against Braden Ikeo, who comes in unbeaten at this point. Now that's Friday night. Friday night, you can stick around because it's a long night of MMA action. The next morning, the UFC, well, not even the next morning, as the clock strikes midnight for us here locally in Albuquerque, the UFC on ESPN Plus has UFC Fight Night 165 from Busan, South Korea. Featherweight main event on short notice, replacing an injured Brian Ortega, number 5 ranked featherweight Frankie Edgar, who was getting ready for a January 25th debut at bantamweight against number 3 ranked Corey Sandhagen, will take on Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung. Jung, the number 7 contender. These two are incredible strikers. This one's going to be fun, a long time coming. Co-main event number 8 versus number 10. It's Volkan Ozdemir versus Alexander Radic in the light heavyweight division. Ozdemir, a former title challenger, has his last 3 wins, all by knockout. Radic, a 12-fight win streak, 10 finishes, 9 knockouts. His last 2 wins have both been big knockout victories. You have Cyril Gane. I'm telling you, this heavyweight prospect will jump into contendership sooner than later. 5-0, a kickboxer who's winning by submission, taking on Tanner Bozier, a 22-fight vet. You also have one in the flyweight division, number 4 ranked contender Alexandre Pantoja. The Brazilian has won 3 of his last 4 fights. He takes on Matt Schnell, who's on a 4-fight win streak, coming off of beating Albuquerque's very own Jordan Espinosa. Also on the early prelims, Syed Nurmagomedov takes on Hani Barcelos. Nurmagomedov is on a 7-fight win streak, 2-0 in the UFC. Barcelos, a also matching 7-fight win streak. The second part of that Bellator doubleheader in Hawaii features the women's flyweight title. Hawaii's very own, the Eliminator, Alimale McFarland, who is unbeaten at 10-0, defending her title against Kate Jackson, who's won 3 of 4 in the Bellator cage, 2 of them by TKO. A tough 23 veteran is Jackson. McFarland, a 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu fighter with 6 of her 8 wins, or 6 of her 8 finishes by submission. In the co-main event, it's a Featherweight World Grand Prix quarterfinal. Unbeaten AJ McKee, coming off of a win in the opening round of the tournament, 8 seconds destroying former WSOF champion Georgi Katahanian, takes on Derek Campos, who in the opening round defeated Daniel Strauss by unanimous decision. You also have unbeaten Juliana Velasquez, who has 5 wins by stoppage, taking on Bruna Ellen. Velasquez win, and she could be the next flyweight title challenger. She could be looking at the main event and the belt. The card also has the debut of Raufrian Stotts. He's one of the top free agent bantamweights. That was a great, or he was. It was a great pickup by Bellator MMA, so great kudos and on his debut coming up. That's just what's going on in the cage. Let's tell you about what's going on in the ring this weekend. Start off on Friday night in Phoenix, Arizona on DAZN. You got Daniel Jacobs, Julio Cesar Chavez. Jacobs is 35-3. Chavez 51-3-1. It's a 12-rounder in the super middleweight division. Julio Cesar Martinez 14-1 versus Christopher Rosales 29-4. A 12-rounder for the vacant WBC flyweight title is your co-main event. Saturday morning, London, ESPN Plus. Daniel Dubois, who's 19-0, puts that unbeaten record up against Kuroto Fujimoto, who's 21-1. It's a 10-rounder for those heavyweights. The card will also see Sonny Edwards, who's 13-0, against Marcel Brathwaite, who is 9-1. It's a 12-rounder for the vacant British Junior Bantamweight title. You also have a title eliminator out there. Probably the biggest fight of the weekend, in my opinion, in the boxing ring happens on Fox, and you have the 28-2 Tony Harrison taking on Jermell Charlo, 32-1. It's a rematch for what is currently Harrison's WBC junior middleweight title. And then Monday morning, Monday morning, ESPN Plus from Yokohama, Japan, Raito Maruto, who's 15-2, versus Steve Butler, 1-1 for Maruto's WBA regular middleweight title. Ken Shiro, who's 16-0, versus Randy Petchlora, who's 31-3-1 for Shiro's WBC junior flyweight title, also on the card. So a lot of action there in the ring globally this week and keeping you busy all hours of the day. Leads us to talking about what we have coming up on the calendar locally to keep you guys entertained so you could go see fights in person. The year's not over yet. December 29th, School of Hard Knocks Promotions. Thank you, Isidro Castillo. It's Combative Wars 2, boxing and MMA at the same event. Southwest MMA Series 30, Buffalo Thunder, January 11th, is our first official local card of the year. Aaron Pearl's there, the Santa Fe native, in the main event. 2 great women fights also on the card. The day before Cerrone McGregor, that's Friday, January 17th, Route 66 Casino, Steve Garcia, Jose Mariscal, LFA 80, their first event of the year. And then the UFC, Rio Rancho, here at the Santa Ana Star Center, February 15th. The main event, light heavyweights, Jan Blachowicz, Corey Anderson. The winner could be the next challenger for John Jones's title, or Dominic Reyes, if Reyes is able to pull off the upset. Ray Borg, Nico Montano, Diego Sanchez, a ton of local talent scheduled to be on that card. Keep your eyes on CageMinds.com as we keep you updated with all the details. Now that we got you guys all caught up, when we return, we got a special interview for you guys. We'll be back in just a moment.
Perez Collision Center is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks and Albuquerque Boxing. Perez Collision Center offers expert knowledge on any of your auto body and paint needs. Give them a call today, 505-254-4655, or stop by for a visit at 2415 2nd Street Northwest in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Perez Collision Center.
Local Union 412. Find a career with benefits, not just a job, at UA Local 412 Training Center. We are looking for plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC tech apprentices and journeymen. Call 505-256-9257. Local Union 412.
Getting ready to train.
Micah Frankel, Cage Minds at Jackson's Acoma, joined by Brant Moore.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? It's great to be here. It's great to see you out here. Took a visit to your city this time, you know. Got everything getting some training in, Jackson's Acoma. Loving it out here.
We talked to you before, LFA 78. Talk to us. Tell us about how you felt the night went down.
So with LFA 78, so with Nation, the biggest thing I felt was I've had over 20 MMA fights, and that's just the MMA fights itself. I've had plenty of jiu-jitsu competitions, Muay Thai fights, boxing matches, all kinds of stuff, right? Really experienced, even though I'm like just 25. And Nation that I saw, I didn't know too much background of many other things, like his wrestling, how far that went, but I did know he only had like maybe 5 MMA fights, like 3 amateur, 2 pro. 2 amateur, 3 pro, and he was 3-0. And I saw all of them, and he was beating everybody very quickly and soundly. Like he's never faced real adversity, and I knew he was going to face that with me, regardless, and saw where I could take him, whether it be deep waters, all kinds of different things like that. But but the biggest thing, the way I was explaining it, I was like, either one of us is going to be surprised whenever the fight starts. Either I'm going to be surprised at how good he is for how little fights he's had, or he's going to be surprised at how solid I am in the game. So what wound up happening is he got surprised, you know.
There afterwards, the angle that you hit the choke at, they didn't know whether to call it an arm triangle or a rear naked. You kind of had everybody stumped at that moment. What do you call it?
It's just a rear naked choke. Larry calls it the side naked choke. Me and D-Rock both have Derek D-Rock Krantz, that's my teacher. Shout out to D-Rock. What's up, baby? I love you. You know, me and him being my teacher, I'm sure y'all saw a lot of my jiu-jitsu and him in my jiu-jitsu. He's heavily influenced my game. As soon as I got mount on him, he turned away from me. He went over that, what I call the 50% line. He went 51% over, and then after that, I just put that chest pressure down and cinched it around his neck, and it was done. It was done. He couldn't, once I locked it in, he couldn't, no matter what he did, I had his neck. So.
A great performance. How do you rate it?
I think I did good, like, you know, a good solid, like, maybe 9 out of 10. You can always improve. There's always things I can do better. Like, I stayed very solid. Made sure that I didn't do certain things, like whenever he started moving around, I started like stand on my back foot and pivoting on it, like tracking him. And you don't want to do that because you start following people, you know, which is what he wanted. So instead of following him, I took a step back, circled out a little bit, then got back into it. Kept my hands in so he didn't know exactly what my range was while he was like testing his range with his jab. As soon as he extended his arms, I already knew what his range was and when he was going to be ready to punch and when he wasn't going to be ready to punch. So my striking's really underrated, mainly because, you know, I hit a guy 1 or 2 times and then either I take them down or they start reaching for me, and you know, I choke them. My motto is I turn strikers into grapplers and then grapplers into dust is the motto. So I continue that trend in every fight.
Do you feel that you showed improvement, development?
Absolutely, absolutely. I didn't jump the gun too fast. I didn't jump the gun, and I also didn't not pull the trigger. I feel like I had that good middle ground of making the right decisions whenever they were called. You know, especially like when I got him to the ground. We got there pretty fast, and I stabilized myself instead of feeling like, oh, I'm stronger, I got a better position, let me go for something crazy, because I could have when he butterfly hooked me, tried to step over it, and then he's trying to leg lock me, and now we're in the leg lock game. So I made sure to keep it in my realm and in my game and away from his game as much as possible. So.
Now building on that, what's your thoughts looking at the LFA landscape as you got a win there on the first card on UFC Fight Pass? It was like being part of the reboot, the restart for them. How do you look at?
Oh, give me the belt. Give me the belt. Can't nobody hold me. What are you talking? For sure. Give me the belt, man. I'm solid. I'm solid. I got my cardio and conditioning up, you know, to fight 5 rounds if I need to. You know, I'm training all the time. I fought just like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I don't remember how long it was at this point, but I haven't really taken many days off from the gym. You know, that Monday I was right back in there, like nothing happened. Didn't take too much damage. You know, there's no reason for me to not keep this momentum going. You know, at Acoma I got a lot of good people, a lot of good looks. Got Jesse over here. What's up, Jesse? I got a lot of different looks and different people I get to train with, and solid guys like Landon Venata. You know, Venata's out here waxing me. So it's always good training with people getting, like, you know, there's levels to the game. You know, I think Venata's like number 27 in the UFC right now. So, you know, being able to train with him, that helps me level up my game, and it also helps me realize that I'm not out here in the far zone. Like, I'm less than an arm's reach away from the world class fighters.
Kevin Aguilar is out here with you. You
Yes.
talk about how big of an influence Derek Krantz has been on you. You guys have all worked together for years. What has it been like this trip, a breath of fresh air, getting a different look?
It's definitely been a breath of fresh air for the most part. It's hard to breathe out here. You know?
Elevation.
The elevation's real. It's a real thing. It's not an illusion. It's really good. You know. Oh, shout out to Avco for letting me get off work and come up here and actually be able to have this trip. You know, shout out to you guys. You know, if you're in the East Texas or the Texas area in general, get your roof done by them. So, you know, it's just been a good experience. Normally, you know, I got a 9-to-5 job, so you know, wake up in the morning, train sometimes if work's not too demanding. Working in roofing, it's like, you know, now it's cold right now, so it's not like we're gunning it, but during the summer, like, you know, I can't train in the morning because I'm gonna have to kill it at work lifting a lot of bundles of shingles or synthetic whatever, and then leave work, maybe take a nap, maybe play some League of Legends, go to the go to the gym, hammer it out for a couple hours in the gym with AOD and D-Rock and Steve Jones, you know, Ariel Juarez as well, and after that, you know, rinse, repeat. But here, the way it's been now, getting trained 2-3 times a day, it's amazing. It's you know, I thought I would have a hard time, but since I'm already in shape for my last fight, I'm not getting wiped by the elevation too bad, you know. So this trip's been good. It's very nice.
And then we got to talk to you for a long time last time.
Yeah.
I want to ask a little bit. Tell us about your warrior spirit, your mentality, why you love martial arts.
So when I was little, I wanted to be like. I also watched a lot of anime. You know, I'm sure you get that a lot. Talking to MMA fighters, it's like a big thing. It's okay to be super weeb now. But watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z. Watched a lot of, like, you know, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Chuck Norris. All those guys. I wanted to be like them, and they wanted to be the best, and I wanted to be the best fighter since I was a little kid. But I didn't know what that looked like. So, you know, my parents put me in karate from like 3 to 12, and then I stopped doing that to play football. You know. And I stopped playing football a little bit later. At 15, I started getting into boxing, and then at 17, I started doing jiu-jitsu. And I found out, despite the fact I've been striking all my life, I'm actually a genius grappler. Like, who knew, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. I know martial arts been a big influence in my life also because. Being the way I am, like, it's kind of meta to be in the anime, being nerdy and whatever. But back in my day, it wasn't cool. You got picked on for stuff like that. You like Dragon Ball Z, everybody's like, oh, you know, this freaking nerdy dude try to pick on you. But you know how to fight. You're the nerdy dude that can whoop somebody. And yeah, martial arts. Get into it if you're if you're getting bullied, anything like that, you know, young kids, anything, you know, find a jiu-jitsu gym, find a boxing gym, 2 to 1, honestly, or 2 out of 3 times. You know, I would recommend, if you're getting bullied, to do jiu-jitsu, because it's about being the smaller guy versus the bigger guy. And chances are, if you're getting bullied and you're a kid, you're probably getting bullied by the bigger kid. You don't want to get into boxing, which even boxing teaches you how to punch. It's still weight class dependent. Like, you know, I'm not finna swing it out. I'm not finna swing it out with an amateur level heavyweight and be all like, yeah, I'm finna do this. You get boom out of there, you know. But in jiu-jitsu, somebody does whatever to you, you choke them, and you'd be surprised how little people know how to grapple that don't train. You forget living and hanging with killers all the time. So, bully-proof yourself.
Well, when's the next time we're going to see you fight on TV? What's your expectations?
Man, probably February. You know, hopefully a fight around or before my birthday, February 22nd. You know, if I'm super lucky and super blessed, you know, somehow I might maybe get on the UFC card in Houston. But if not, you know, is he in camera? What's up, Jesse? I see you over there, baby. But if I'm lucky, if I'm blessed, you know, everything falls in line, UFC in Houston in February. At the same time, still blessed. LFA fighting either solidifying that top spot, which I feel like I've already done. I'm undefeated in their cage, like multiple times over. But if they want to give me a shot at the belt, I'm ready for a shot at the belt. If they want me to take another fight before, because there's another guy in line and he's been waiting for a while, that's fine too. Whatever. They can't. None of them can hold me, so it doesn't really matter. Like whichever one they put in front, whoever gets put in front of me, I'm gonna beat, regardless. So hopefully February though. To answer your question.
Got to meet you in person.
Yeah.
Brant, good getting to talk to you, sir. Thank you for the time.
Hey, I love y'all. Just keep watching me. I'm gonna try to keep being awesome, and just the same, y'all stay awesome. I love y'all.
Brant Moore, one of the top prospects there in LFA's lightweight division, a tremendous grappler, a great personality. It was awesome getting to spend some time with him as he came up from Texas to spend some time at Jackson's Acoma. Expect big things from that young man. Keep you guys up to date. We're going to be off for the next 2 weeks. No Red Menace, no Cage Minds. Everybody have a wonderful Christmas, a safe and happy New Year's, and we'll be back in 2020. Keep up with CageMinds.com. We're going to have tons of interviews going up for the Southwest MMA Series 30, that LFA 80, and the UFC Rio Rancho event. So I'll be keeping busy during the holidays. You guys, thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.